It's just about a week away now. Let me double check. NBA draft date. Yeah, June 26th, and I'm recording this on the 21st. So, if any big trades or anything like that happen between me recording this and this going live, just know I record this on the 21st, and now I'm going to go on this, assuming that nobody is trading their pick, but I'm also doing this just like who I would pick regardless of team need. I think best player available or whatever, and this is all just my opinion. I looked at a handful of drafts, handful of scouting reports, and then paired that with my own opinion. And I'm just gonna do the top 10 picks. It's like with my first pick, obviously, theoretically, that player's going to Atlanta, but I'm not really, thinking about team need, honestly. This is just if I were to take 10 players in this draft, which 10 would I take, right? So anyway, the player that I would take at 1 overall, and this guy was first overall for a lot of the year, but then he started to slide down, and I see most mocks have him now at 2. But personally, I still think he is the most interesting and perhaps most talented player in this draft, and that is Alexander Sarr. Playing for the Perth Wildcats in Australia's National Basketball League. He is a French player. Now, I actually did get to see him play live here in the NBL, so that was pretty cool. I don't know if that's influencing my spot here or not. I don't think so, but he's 7 feet tall. He's only 19 years old, weighs 224 pounds, and has a 7'4" wingspan. He's averaging 9.6 points, 1.5 blocks, 4.5 rebounds, and 1 assist. His career highs are 18 points, 12 boards, 5 blocks, and 3 assists. Now for his strengths, I put that he is an athletic finisher. He's a very good on-ball defender. He's a good ball handler, especially for his size. I don't want to say Kevin Durant, but kind of just reminds me of that, a guy with that size and that frame, but still able to drive the lanes, really worrying about him losing his handle. And he's a good passer. Not an elite passer by any means, but a good passer. His weaknesses are his three-point shot, finishing with his offhand, and motivation. I put motivation because when I went and I watched him live, I noticed that as soon as he got to the bench, he kind of disengaged. He was sitting in a row behind the rest of his teammates. He wasn't really listening to the coach. I don't know if that's because he thinks he was too good for the Australian League or whatever, so he wasn't really clued in, or turned on 100%. Pause. But that's definitely something that could be a knock against him that I noticed when I saw him in person. And also, he is not a good free throw shooter, and free throw shooting is one of those things that kind of translates in the NBA to being a good three-point shooter. If you're a weak three-point shooter, but you can shoot free throws decently, usually that's a good sign that a guy can develop a three-point shot. But he's not a good free throw shooter, and he's not a good three-point shooter. So this isn't a Victor Wembanyama 2.0 where he can do everything. But I still think Alexander Sarr is the most intriguing prospect in this draft. So I personally have him at number 1. At number 2, I have the guy that a lot of people now have at number 1 on their board. And that's Zachary Risacher. I know that's probably not how you pronounce that. He plays for JL Bourg in the French league. And he's also French, so potentially your top 2 players in this draft. Both coming out of France, plus Victor Wembanyama last year. Coming out of France. He's 6'9", 19 years old, weighs 195 pounds, and has a 6'10" wingspan. He averaged 10.1 points, 3.8 rebounds, 0.3 blocks, and 0.9 assists. But remember as well, he's playing against grown men. And it's definitely a higher level of competition than Sarr is going against as well. His career highs are 25 points, 4 blocks, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. For his strengths, he's a 3-and-D wing player. Good defender. He can play the 2 through the 4, although you probably mostly want to play him on the wing. He has an elite 3-point shot, and he's a really quick decision maker. He's not going to hesitate with the ball. He's going to figure out what he needs to do and then just do it. Some of his weaknesses: he is weak at the rim, not good at finishing through contact. He is slow off the dribble, so he's not going to break down a defender in isolation. Although he has a good 3-point shot, good mechanics, he is a streaky shooter. He can go long stretches. You know, he can have a game where he goes 8 for 10. That's probably too much, you know, but 5 for 7 or something. But he'll have a game where he goes 2 for 8 or something like that. Just not a consistent shooter, but he also is not a great free throw shooter. So maybe some concerns about his shot at the NBA level. But I still have him. I have him at number 2. Like I said, a lot of people, he seems to be consensus number 1 right now. But my personal opinion, this is just my personal rankings, I still have Sarr ahead of him. Number 3, Matas Buzelis. Now, I think I have him quite a bit higher than a lot of other drafts do, or a lot of other mocks do. But this is a guy I'm really high on. He plays in the G League Knecht. He is 6 feet 9 inches tall. He's 19 years old, weighs 197 pounds, and has a 6'10" wingspan. He averaged 14.3 points, 2.1 blocks, 6.9 rebounds, and 1.7 assists. His career highs are 25 points, 4 blocks, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. Now his strengths: he's a good floor spacer. He's an underrated playmaker. I feel like people don't talk about his playmaking ability a lot, but he is a good playmaker. He's a really good off-ball on both offense and defense, which for a rookie, especially at age 19, already having that off-ball game is really important, because so many elite rookies need the ball in their hand to be effective, but Buzelis does not. And he hustles on both ends of the floor. He's not taking possessions off on defense or anything like that. Some of his weaknesses: his shot is streaky at best. He frequently loses the ball, dribbling into contact. He'll get stripped quite often. He struggles with contact at the rim. And he definitely needs to add some muscle to his frame, but he's only 19 years old. But I think I maybe have him a bit high, but his upside and his two-way play, for me personally, I think he's going to develop into a really good player, I feel like, and kind of the modern NBA where you need guys to be two-way players, right? He kind of, in my opinion, given his size and his skill set, He's like one of the perfect modern NBA players. So I have him at 3. At 4, I have Nikola Topic. I've seen some drafts have him as high as 3, and some have him as low as like 15. Now, I really value size in a point guard, especially in the modern NBA. I think you need a big point guard. And he's 6'6", and he's only 18 years old, so he can theoretically get taller. He is Serbian. He plays for Crvena Zvezda. Like I said, only 18, 6'6", 203 pounds, 6 foot, 5.5 inch wingspan. You don't really want to see a wingspan shorter than a height. That is one knock there, but he's averaging 14.5 points, 3.2 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 0.2 blocks. His career highs are 33 points, 10 rebounds, 1 block, 12 assists. His strengths, he is a versatile rim scorer. He can, if he's getting to the rim, he can hit you with a floater, he can get you with a Euro step and up and under, he can dunk. Like, he can finish no matter what kind of defense you're throwing at him. He also has a really good footwork and change of pace. Kind of think of like how Luka Doncic does, where like he's fast, slow, like he has really good breaks. And he just knows how to move his feet in a way to get past the defense. He's also an elite playmaker, especially in the post. He'll like get downhill, get into the post. And he's such an elite finisher at the rim. You'll be playing him straight up, but he'll be under the rim and he'll feed the ball to the corner, to a guy cutting back door, something like that. He's just a really good passer. And even though he's not a great three-point shooter, he is a great free throw shooter. And like I said, that usually can be used as a indicator of three-point development. Is this someone's a good free throw shooter? And he is. Now his weaknesses, he is a terrible defender, both mechanically and effort-wise. That's something that really needs to be worked on. He has an awkward shooting motion, and he basically needs to be completely wide open to get his shot off if he's not in the paint. And we've seen how that worked with guys like Ben Simmons, right? If you don't have a good shot, it's really hard to succeed in the NBA. He's also pretty lean for his size, only 203 pounds at 6'6". But I think Nikola Topic has a ton of upside. I think he has a lot of the raw skills, the talent, the basketball IQ to really succeed in the NBA. I think he will definitely struggle early, but I would definitely have him go in the top 5. Now at number 5, this is a guy that's been climbing a lot of people's rankings. I've seen some people have him in the top 3. I personally struggle. I have him here because of how consensus it seems to be that he should be going high. But I really struggle to put a guy his size here, especially in the modern NBA. We have Sheppard out of Kentucky. He's only 6'2", 20 years old. He weighs 182 pounds. Has a 6 foot 3.5 inch wingspan. Like if this was 10 years ago, this guy would be a no-brainer pick. But nowadays, point guards are just getting taller and taller. Like Luka Doncic is a point guard. LeBron is playing point guard now. Like, point guards are consistently being over 6'4". And so this guy's kind of a throwback. I think a bench point guard might be his ceiling. But he averaged 12.5 points, 4.1 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 0.7 blocks. His career highs are 32 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, 11 assists. but he has some very intriguing strengths, and I think that could make him go top 5. He is an elite spot-up threat. I think he is NBA ready for the three-pointer. He's definitely going to be a guy that you have to get out there and cover him on the perimeter, even from deep. And he plays great defense for his size. Kind of reminds me of Pat Bev a little bit. He's kind of a pest. Has really active hands, trying to get steals. He's jumping out into the passing lanes, things like that. He has really good defensive instincts. He's a high-level playmaker, and he can shoot off the screen. So I think he has a very versatile skill set. A very desirable skill set. If he was like 3 inches taller, this would be a no-brainer top 3 pick in my opinion. Some of his weaknesses are his ball handling. He is not a great ball handler, and if he's going to be your primary point guard, that is definitely a concern. His size, obviously, like I already mentioned, is a weakness. He's not good at handling pressure in college. If he saw any double teams, it did not end well. And he'll often pick up his dribble, which kind of just kills all forward momentum. He'll be dribbling, driving, running the play, and then pick up his dribble. And then everything has to reset. But I have him there at 5, Reed Sheppard. Like I said, some people have him a little bit higher. Okay, 6th overall. The player I have at 6th overall, Stefan Castle from UConn. 6 foot 5.5 inches tall, 19 years old, weighs 210 pounds, and has a 6 foot 9 inch wingspan. Now this is what I'm talking about with a modern point guard. I really like what this guy has to offer physically. Averaged 11.1 points, half a block, 4.7 boards, and 2.9 assists. His career highs are 21 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, 8 assists. And kind of like Dopic, he has a really good change of pace and footwork. We're seeing that more and more with point guards now, especially these bigger point guards. Them being able to speed up, slow down, change angles. He also has elite size and strength for a point guard, so he can just pull you over and get into the paint. He can finish through contact. Given his size, like I said, and his strength, not a concern. He'll take the bump into the paint, and he'll take that and one. He also has high potential as a shooter. He has games where he'll go off, and then he'll have other games where he'll be terrible. And I put in his weaknesses. He's a streaky shooter, and he can be a bit of a chucker. Average skills across the board. What that means is he isn't really good at any one thing. He's kind of just okay at a bunch of things, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but he just doesn't have one thing he's really known for. He has some injury concerns, and this was something I saw in a scouting report, but they said that he just is a really simple passer, which I guess means he's not getting the ball into tricky spots or things like that. If you're open, he'll get you the ball. Okay, so I have him at 6. So now we come to 7th overall, and this is theoretically where my favorite team, the Portland Trail Blazers, are drafting. And this is the guy that I do hope that we draft, but I didn't let that influence my decision making here. But this is the guy I hope that we end up getting, and that is Donovan Clingan, also from UConn. He's 7 foot 2 inches tall. He's 20 years old. Weighs 282 pounds, has a 7 foot 7 wingspan. Averages 13 points, 2.5 blocks, 7.4 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. His career highs are 29 points, 16 boards, 8 blocks, and 6 assists. I saw this guy getting comped to Rudy Gobert. I don't know if I'd say that, but I can kind of see what people are talking about because of his frame. But he is an elite rim protector, a really good shot blocker, does not have to leave his feet to block shots. He's very mobile given his size, which is good for pick and roll defense. He's not slow for his size. He's an elite dunker and post scorer. Connecticut, UConn was running tons of plays just trying to get him the ball down the post and just letting him yam it on people. And he has good hands and coordination, which a lot of big fans struggle with that. There's a lot of big men with butterfingers, but he's not one of them. Weaknesses: he's an absolutely terrible free throw shooter, like Shaquille O'Neal bad, which also means like that's not good for developing any sort of outside shot. He has some stamina concerns. When he was seeing longer minutes during his college career, the longer he would play, the worse he would play. So definitely some concerns there that he'll get tired over the course of a game. He has absolutely no shot outside of the paint, doesn't have a mid-range, doesn't have a perimeter shot, and is very unlikely to ever develop one. And also, his perimeter defense is not very good. He's decent at it, but he frequently gets caught. Just, that'll be a switch hunt that would be something that has to be dealt with, but not a good perimeter defender. But like I said, this is the guy I hope the Portland Trail Blazers take in this draft. Okay. Who I would take at number 8, Ron Holland. This guy has been up and down draft boards all year. I saw he was in the top 5 at one point. I saw one draft that had him down at 15 recently. I saw one draft that had him at 10. But I still am pretty high on this guy, especially given his physical attributes. So I would take him this high, maybe even a little bit higher, but Ron Holland in the G League Ignite. He is 6 foot 7.5 tall for a guard. Like that alone right there, I feel like you have to take a shot on that. He's 18. He weighs 197 pounds and has a 6 foot 11 wingspan. I think he plays the 2-3, but I think he could play point guard in the NBA. He averaged 15.3 points, 1.1 blocks, 7 rebounds, 2.8 assists. His career highs are 32 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, 8 assists. His strengths: he is an explosive finisher. Kind of reminds me of like a young Russell Westbrook. Obviously not like at that level, but he'll just attack the rim, just cock his arm back and just boom, explode on it. He's very decisive, which a lot of young players struggle with. He'll be like, alright, I'm going to attack the paint, and then he'll just do it. He doesn't hesitate, he doesn't second guess. He figures out what he's going to do, and he does it for better or for worse. He's a selfless player. He doesn't mind passing up out of a good position to get it to another player. And he's a versatile defender, especially given his size. I think he has a lot of upside on defense. Now his weakness is he has a really slow shot release. So he needs to be pretty open to get his shot off. He's also not a great free throw shooter. So again, some concerns there about how his shot will develop at the next level. He also has some issues creating his own shot. And he is not good with his offhand. So definitely some concerns there. I can see why he fell down some draft boards. but he still intrigues me enough as a prospect where I think I'd definitely take him in the top 10. Now, number 9, this is another guy that's climbed draft boards recently, and that is Dalton Knecht from Tennessee. He's 6'6". He's 23 years old, 212 pounds, 6'9" wingspan. Now, in my opinion, this is a guy that a team is not drafting this guy for his upside or his potential. This is a team that feels like they're one role player piece away from being a competitor. Because Dalton is kind of like the classic white dude 3-point shooter who doesn't play defense. And I can say that. I'm allowed to. But that's all he's ever gonna be. He's already a finished product. He's 23, but if you're a team like Utah, who is a top 10 pick, but you feel like you're a playoff team, adding this guy might be the way to go, because you don't have to develop him. He can plug and play. He averaged 21.7 points, 0.6 blocks, 4.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists. His career highs are 40 points, 14 rebounds, 3 blocks, 6 assists. He is an elite and versatile 3-point shooter. He can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot off the screen. He can be a spot-up shooter. Doesn't matter how, but if he has the ball and he's behind the 3-point line, he can shoot the ball and put it in the hoop. And that's really important. He's a 3-level scorer. He can score at the rim, he can shoot at mid-range, and obviously his great 3-point shot. He's really good at creating space, and he's good in the pick and roll. And he's calm under pressure and calm handling double teams. Now, his weaknesses: he is a very poor defender. Even at the college level, he was getting targeted on switches and things like that. And you have to imagine at the NBA level, it's going to be even worse. He really struggles against lengthy defenders. Like I say, he's a good 3-point shooter, but if there's a guy with long wingspan, things like that, he really struggles against getting his shot off against those kind of players. I already mentioned his age. He is a finished product, so what you see is what you're going to get with him. And that is a very one-dimensional game. He can score the ball, and that's about all he can do. Now, finally, rounding out my top 10, I have Zach Edey. This is probably going to be my most controversial one. This guy has been up and down draft boards. Right now, I see him going at 15 on a lot of people's boards. But he plays for Purdue. He's from Canada. 7 foot 5 inches tall. He's 22 years old. Weighs 299 pounds. 7 foot 11 inch wingspan. He averaged 25.2 points, 2.2 blocks, 12.2 rebounds, and 2 assists. His career highs are 40 points, 7 blocks, 22 boards, and 5 assists. Now for his strengths, he's an unstoppable interior presence. Just given his size, his strength, he gets the ball, he's putting it up. He has a soft touch in the post, especially given his size. And he is really strong on interior defense. He handles bigs. No problem. You really can't back this guy down. And he's also a passable passer, which, a little bit of a pun, but not a great passer by any stretch of the imagination, but it also is not a weakness in his game. If he gets double teamed down in the post, he can get the ball out to an open player. Now, weaknesses: he is not good at defending away from the basket. He's not going to be defending the perimeter. Not even really going to defend the mid-range that well. He is going to be defending other bigs pretty much exclusively. He is slow. He struggles in transition. Just given his frame, his height and weight, he's not running the floor back and forth. He has absolutely no shot outside the paint, and he cannot go left. But I feel like there's enough here that's interesting, and this is a draft class that is fairly weak, and kind of a lot of things with this draft class are kind of up in the air. Where I personally feel like if I was at 10, I would go with Eddie. I'm not sure the pronunciation. He reminds me kind of like a Steven Adams type. And I feel like he could be a serviceable center in the NBA for a long time. He also does not really have health concerns. So for those reasons, I personally would have him at 10, but like I said, this is just my opinion. I'm definitely not an expert or anything like that, but and this was just my top 10, but let me know what you thought, what you agreed with or disagreed with. Let me know in the comments down below. But if you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.